Shall I tell you another strange story today?
Yes.
If there is a hole in the International Space Station, ISS, it can pose a serious threat to the crew's safety and the space station's operation. The first step would be for the crew to identify the location and size of the hole. They would use various methods, including visual inspections, pressure readings, and airflow measurements, to determine the extent of the damage. Once the location and size of the hole are identified, the crew would work to contain the leak. They might use specialized tools or patches to cover the hole and stop the leak. In some cases, they might need to move to a different part of the station to isolate the affected module and prevent the leak from spreading. If the leak is severe, the crew might need to evacuate the affected module and seal it off completely. They would then work with Mission Control to develop a plan for repairing the damage and restoring the module to full operation. Overall, dealing with a hole in the space station would require quick thinking, careful planning, and the use of specialized tools and equipment. In addition to containing the leak and repairing the damage, the crew would need to monitor the air quality and pressure inside the station to ensure the safety of the crew. If the air pressure drops too low, it can lead to the crew experiencing decompression sickness, which can be life-threatening. The space station has various backup systems and redundancies to ensure that it can continue to function even if there is damage to some parts of it. However, if the damage is severe enough, it may require the assistance of Mission Control on the ground to troubleshoot and resolve the issue. In extreme cases where the damage cannot be contained or repaired, the crew may need to abandon the space station and return to Earth. This would require a coordinated effort between the crew, Mission Control, and the space agencies involved. In summary, dealing with a hole in the space station is a serious issue that requires quick thinking, careful planning, and the use of specialized tools and equipment. The crew's safety is of utmost importance, and they would need to take appropriate measures to contain the leak, repair the damage, and ensure the space station's continued operation. In the event of a hole in the space station, the crew would also need to communicate with Mission Control on Earth to provide updates and receive instructions. Mission Control would work with the crew to develop a plan of action and provide guidance on how to address the issue. The crew would also need to consider the long-term effects of the damage on the space station. For example, if the hole is in a critical component, it could affect the overall functionality of the space station and the ability of the crew to conduct experiments and research. Furthermore, repairing a hole in the space station is a complex process that requires specialized equipment and training. The crew would need to work together to coordinate the repair efforts, which could take several hours or even days to complete. It's worth noting that the space station has experienced small leaks in the past, and the crew was able to successfully contain and repair them. However, a larger hole could present a more significant challenge, and the crew would need to be prepared to handle the situation quickly and efficiently to ensure their safety and the space station's continued operation. One additional challenge that the crew may face in the event of a hole in the space station is the limited resources available to them. The space station has a finite supply of air, water, and food, and the crew would need to conserve these resources while they work to contain and repair the damage. The crew would also need to consider the potential impact on their health and well-being. For example, if the hole is caused by a micrometeorite, there may be a risk of exposure to harmful radiation. The crew would need to take appropriate measures to protect themselves and minimize their exposure to any potential hazards. Overall, dealing with a hole in the space station is a complex and challenging task that requires the crew to work together and use their training and expertise to address the issue. The safety of the crew is the top priority, and they would need to take all necessary precautions to ensure their well-being while they work to contain and repair the damage. Another important consideration in the event of a hole in the space station is the impact on future space missions. The International Space Station is an important platform for scientific research and experimentation, and any damage that affects its functionality could have a significant impact on future missions. For example, if the damage is severe enough, it may require the space station to be decommissioned or replaced, which could delay or cancel future space missions. The International Space Station is an important platform for scientific research and experimentation, and any damage that affects its functionality could have a significant impact on future missions. For example, if the damage is severe enough, it may require the space station to be decommissioned or replaced, which could delay or cancel future space missions. The crew would need to work quickly and efficiently to minimize the impact of the damage and ensure that the space station can continue to operate as intended. Additionally, the crew would need to consider the psychological impact of the situation. Being in space can be a stressful and isolating experience, and the crew would need to support each other and maintain their mental health while they work to address the issue. In summary, dealing with a hole in the space station is a complex and challenging task that requires the crew to work together and use all available resources to contain and repair the damage. The crew would need to be prepared to handle the situation quickly and efficiently to ensure their safety and the space station's continued operation, while also considering the potential impact on future space missions and their own mental health.